Who would like to increase your productivity for no additional cost by 50%? Who's heard of the 80-20 rule? The 80-20 rule is the most important rule for effective leadership. When you've got the passion, you're leading with integrity about things that you really feel passionately about, respecting those you work with, listening to them, encouraging them, affirming them, and all of these things. And then there's the 80-20 rule. And the 80-20 rule says this, and it's a rule of business, but it's a rule of total life, that 80% of the impact comes from 20% of all of your effort. In actually 10 minutes, you've probably got to 80% of the problems that need to be sorted out with this particular patient. The rest is overtime, if you've got it. In 10 minutes on the phone with a mum who's distraught about how we're going to manage the problem child at home, in 10 minutes on that phone, you may have helped to manage that problem and nurse it over for the next day or two, rather than having to bomb around and do a journey there 1 hour, journey back 1 hour, 2 hours in the home. The 80-20 rule tells you that 80% of the work is done by 20% of your team. When it comes to a new initiative, the 80-20 rule tells you that 80% of your leadership impact comes from a fifth of what you do. You say, well, how can that be? I tell you what, with any of you, within 5 to 10 minutes, I bet I could identify some 80-20s. So it might be for Margaret. Says, well, what's your 80-20? Margaret says, well, I guess I've got 2 or 3 people I really, really depend on a lot, but they're not quite up to speed, and I'm not able to give them real departmental responsibilities yet. So you know what your 80-20 is? Which is probably the most effective hour of every week is the 1 hour you spend on a one-to-one basis with each of them. It's 2 hours a week. Mentoring, coaching, encouraging, equipping, supervising, delegating, and checking. And with clear accountability, oversight, and with 1 or 2 phone calls and a couple of emails, they're actually doing fine. And suddenly you've doubled your productivity, right? Because you've now got 2 full-time people working for you who are working flat out and doing really, really well. The most effective 2 hours you could possibly spend every week of your entire life. A friend of mine writes little notes of encouragement. How long does it take to write a note? 30 seconds. How long do you keep a note? Who here's got a note on your mantelpiece or on your desk and you've kept it for more than a month? A note of encouragement. How long does it take to write one? 2 minutes. If you go to his office, what's the first thing you pick up when he's gone to get a cup of coffee? You read his notes, right? And you put them straight back so that he doesn't see you've read them, okay? He says, I'm just getting a cup of coffee. Thank God for that. You read them all, put them back. And as you read them all, you're encouraged. Why are you encouraged? This is crazy. Richard spent 20 seconds writing you a little note saying, thank you, you really helped, and that mentoring session was fantastic, etc., etc. And you're encouraged. Why? Because little things make a lot of difference. That's the 80-20 rule. Find your 80-20 and do more of it. Is there something you could do in 4% of your time to generate up to 64% of your impact? Yes, there is. Probably. 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 So stop and think about what you're doing. Be ruthless about time stealers. They're in the 20% impact for 80% of the time. Be realistic about your goals. Cut out things which really don't matter. Reduce and shorten your meetings. Delegate, empower like crazy. Use the dead time. Make sure you're online when you travel or whatever it is. Keep things moving on and appreciate each day and enjoy the moment. And when you can add passion, purpose, and a sense of fun to the focus which comes through 80-20, then you really start to make things happen. So let your passion show. Be the person that you were made to be. Have the courage of your own convictions. Be known as someone who stands for principle in your own leadership. Focus on what's important to you. Decide to make the difference. And live as you want others to live. You know, example is the most important form of leadership that you can have. So we make sure that every target, it matters to you. If it doesn't matter to you, scrap it. If it's someone else's target, forget it. It's got to matter to you if you're going to lead people, isn't it? It's no good inheriting someone else's target. If it doesn't matter to you, you need to go back and challenge the target. Go all the way back up to the top and say, this target is crap. I can't implement it. That's what leadership is about. It's leading up. It's mentoring up. It's helping the administrators above you to get real with what's actually going on and the realities of the ground. And that's one of the problems in public services, that often that doesn't happen. So it matters to you, it inspires others, it's clear, realistic, it's agreed, it's reviewed, and it's rewarded. So your leadership example can last a very long time. It lasts many generations, in fact. So your team will always be loyal so long as they're convinced that you're worth following, that your heart is in the right place, that your ideas are sound, your values are great, your friendship is important, the environment is fun, you listen well, treat people generously and fairly, with integrity and respect. And when they know there's no other job they would rather do or leader they would rather work for, you can change the world.